Good morning, San Diego. My name is NASBY. Welcome to Operation American Dream. On our show, we cover 4 topics: veteran entrepreneurship, financial literacy, home ownership, and employment. We have an incredible show today, as usual. You know, when I say the words United States Navy SEAL, I think the first image that doesn't come to your mind is one who is insecure and uncomfortable in his own skin and full of fear. But I think one of our segments is going to change your mind about that. We also have an Emmy award-winning producer on our show, and we also have Santiago Leon from Able to Disabled Advocacy to talk about how you and your friends who might be looking for work can get free certifications in IT and project management. So once again, we've got a great show on Operation American Dream. It's coming at you. Don't go away. Welcome back to Operation American Dream. We are here in studio, as promised, with some really incredible people. We want to welcome the Honor Foundation to Operation American Dream. Phil, Dana, Floyd, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Eve. It's great to be
Phil,
here.
Dana, you are an incredible person. You obviously served in the military, so tell us a little bit about your background.
27th man in the family to serve.
27th man in the family.
In
all
the
in
Navy, Marine Corps. My grandpa was a Marine in Iwo Jima. My father was in Korea and Vietnam. I enlisted as an air crewman, stationed here in San Diego, snuck into the Naval Academy as the old guy, and then came back here for a few years as an officer, a couple more deployments.
And the name Dana, so tell us the story there.
Yeah, including Richard Henry Dana, right? So we're a bunch of sailors and Marines. So
Dana Point.
Richard Henry Dana, first state's Attorney General who fought for sailor and minority rights, which is kind of creepy knowing what my career is.
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting, Phil, because you you worked at companies like Amazon and Intuit, like big companies, not only here in San Diego, but up the coast. So tell us about your career path after you left the military.
So yeah, so when I got out of the military, I went and built houses in Las Vegas. No HR, no onboarding, no training. I did it in a way that they liked, the corporate guys down in Dallas, and they said, hey, would you like to come into HR? And my immediate reaction is, I don't know what that is. We don't really have HR in the military, but my mentor said I was really good at it.
Right.
I took his word for it and got into HR and went to Sears, Amazon, Life Technologies down here.
Yep. And
then most recently Intuit, and hired about 25,000 veterans along the way and helped other companies build programs, and ran into you, I think, the first week I moved down here because of the force of Eve NASBY.
We love what we do in helping veterans, right?
Yep.
So that is a great segue into the Honor Foundation, which is why you drug Floyd on here today, and we're going to talk about you in just a minute. But give us a high-level overview of what the Honor Foundation is.
So the Honor Foundation is a unique transitioning institute for special ops leaders, including Marine Corps Raiders, Navy SEALs, and the enablers, the technicians, the EOD, bomb guys, or SWCC, the combat craft guys that embed with the teams and deploy. So naturally, it's here in San Diego where we're headquartered, and we have our second campus out in Virginia Beach, where a lot of the guys are as well.
You know, Floyd, we're so glad you're here. Thanks for being willing to come on the show today. Tell us a little bit about your background, and then we're going to talk about your involvement with the Honor Foundation.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. And 25 years in the Navy, 15 years have been with Naval Special Warfare. I transitioned in 10 months, so I will be
looking for work
for a citizen, before you be a public citizen, right? And I plan to run for public office and Congress down the line.
And I would love to see a United States Navy SEAL run for public office right here in San Diego. And I think you've got the character and the integrity, and I think a lot of our military folks do, and I think we need to see more of you in political office. But let's back that up a little bit, because you're transitioning out. You're going from a very safe place as a Navy SEAL. You know who you are. You know what to do, what you do, how to do what you do. But now you're going into the unknown. Is there a little bit of fear there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like I'm starting all over again, back to when I decided I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. So there is unknown. However, the Honor Foundation was very helpful in that. They took away that lack of self-confidence that was there and really embedded in us that, hey, we have the skills that's needed in order to continue on, and we are qualified.
So talk about how the Honor Foundation literally did that. Are you going to classes every day? What's this? What exactly do you do, and how has that been working for you?
So 2 classes a week,
Okay.
4 hours each class, but then there's extensive amount of homework, research, and just projects that they have you do individual and as a group. So based off of that template, it's broken down into 3 parts, and the first part I believe is the hardest because it's very introspective. You have to look inside yourself and see exactly who you are and what are your passions. Because for 25 years, you know, I've been serving our country through the military. So sometimes that can get lost in translation as far as who you really are as opposed to being attached to the military.
Right.
So they bring that out of you, figure out what your passions are, and then they help you actually build a plan to do what you love to do once you're out.
That's got to be difficult because you're labeled, and your friends and family know you as, this is my SEAL team buddy. You know, this is my son, he's a Navy SEAL. That's the way you get introduced, right?
Yes.
Now you're transitioning out, and hopefully for you, it will be now, this is my son, the congressman. But for a lot of guys that are getting out, they don't have that focus, they don't have that drive, they don't know what they want to do once they get out. And so the Honor Foundation really helps establish that.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Phil, after they're done the iteration through the Honor Foundation, what is waiting for them on the other side? What kind of connections do you guys have? And then I want to follow that up with, how can we help you?
Yeah, I think the important thing to say is what's on the other side is whatever they want. And as Floyd said, we help them figure that out and tease the answer out of themselves. What we do is we start with a lot of assessments, and we surround them with mentors. We surround them with employers that have the right culture, that understand that hiring a special ops leader is a force multiplier for growing a company and for making your organization better. It's the elite talent pool. It's proven, measured, and highly selected. And then you want that type of talent on a team in order to win. And then last and certainly not least, we've built an alumni program and the connectivity of a global network to continue to mentor and stay in touch with these guys. And so as they depart Coronado and maybe move to Seattle, they'll land in an area where they have mentors, have other team guys waiting for them, have employers, an alumni network.
Yep. Yeah. And I think you've got connections with companies like Goldman Sachs, Airbnb, et cetera, that are waiting for these guys to graduate because they understand the true value that they bring to the table. So I think in the past, Phil, you've told me that when they don't go through your program, sometimes that average salary is around $60,000-ish, right? But if they get out of your program, what does that look like for them on average?
Yeah, right now the average is 157. It's a different story based on location and industry, of course. And the reality is some guys, their lifelong dream is to go in the FBI or CIA, and so that salary is going to be much different, although they're achieving their fulfillment, which is what we want and what we're about, versus going to a pre-equity, post-C round, startup, and then 2 years later be grossing 7 figures, which we've also had.
Yep,
so it's a wide range. We just want them to find fulfillment.
Well, we're running out of time. We're going to have the Honor Foundation's website on the screen. Tell us how we can support you.
Yeah, so come to the website and click Join Us. I need mentors, I need employers, and I need donors. We're a 501(c) charity. It's a season of giving. And as well as when you see Floyd's billboard here in the San Diego area any day now, I want you to vote for him because he was the honor man of our cohort, so I know he has the ethics and values to be what we need in politics today.
Awesome. Phil, Dana, Floyd, thank you so much for being a part of our show today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, go online, donate. They had 84 people that they wanted to get into the program, and they couldn't because they didn't have the funds. So go on to the honorfoundation.org's website and donate today. We're going to be right back with more of Operation American Dream. Don't go away. Welcome back to Operation American Dream. As promised, we are in studio with my good friend Santiago Leon from Able to Disabled Advocacy. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Santiago, you've got a great organization, and I want the world to know about it because it's free for veterans, and that gets me excited because if it's free, it's for me. So tell us about Able to Disabled Advocacy and what you are doing. You've got a couple programs for veterans.
Well, Able Disabled Advocacy has 2 main programs for veterans. The first one is known as VetWorks. That's the one that I work under. And what we do is we help veterans who are looking to get a project management certification or to get certifications in IT, anywhere from A+, Network+, Security+, and then those that would like just a little bit more assistance bolstering their administration backgrounds. So we have Microsoft Word, Excel, Access certifications.
Wow.
As you mentioned, our program is free, and it's not it requires a GI Bill free. No, it is completely covered.
Free.
Yes.
Right.
The grant that we were issued from the Employment Development Department covers the training, the cost of the certifications, as well as the job placement assistance that we offer.
Wow.
Now, the other program that we have is one of the first IT apprenticeship programs in California. It's known as Pathways to Paychecks. That, again, is directed for more IT work. So it is about an 18-month commitment, and for the first 6 months, it's all about training, getting the A+ as well as Security+ certifications. After they've earned those certifications, then our organization connects them with an employer who guarantees them 800 hours of training.
Wow.
So it's not just working there, that employer also assigned them a mentor, and during that time, they can continue their training to get another 2 additional certifications. Now, we provide them once more the training for that, and at the end of that program, they will have a year of experience, 2 certifications, potentially 4, and the 2 major barriers to getting into the IT world, being certifications and experience, are going to be overcome.
You know, it's really interesting, Santiago. I was reading an article this morning that talked about the hottest industries right now, and guess what one of those is? IT.
Yes.
And so if you have the opportunity to get training for free into an industry that's not going away but is only going to expand and grow, why wouldn't you do that? Right?
Exactly that. And that's why our organization targeted those specific certifications. The big one right now is Security+. So we help them with that training, and again, we pay for those certifications. It doesn't require GI Bill. Now, in order to enroll, obviously, it's government money, so there are stipulations.
Right.
If they've exited the military within the last 4 years, or if they have a service-connected disability, if they're unemployed, who have exhausted their unemployment insurance or on unemployment insurance, all of that allows them to be eligible to enroll.
That is fantastic. You know what? And I love what you're doing, because you're giving hope to people who may have lost their hope.
Definitely.
They get out of the military and they can't find a job doing what they were doing before because they don't have the skills. They can't get into these other jobs in IT. And what you're offering them is this rope. Say, hold on to this. We're going to pull you in. We're going to give you the education and that you need to get a job. That program, Santiago, that does the internship program is worth gold, because companies want to hire people with experience.
Definitely.
And how do you get experience if somebody won't hire you because you have none?
Exactly.
Right? So now you're training them, and they have OJT, on-the-job experience, and at the end of the day, they've got a resume that sings.
Definitely, and that's why we're very proud of that Pathways to Paychecks program. Now, we do understand that sometimes that 18-month commitment can be a little daunting, so with the VetWorks program, we're able to, if they just need that Security+, or they need just that A+, they can come to us and we can give them that certification. And what we've found out is sometimes they'll start off by going to our program, getting that A+ certification, realizing, you know, I really like this. And we just transfer them over to the apprenticeship program. Next thing you know, they have more certifications and they gain access to employers.
Wow. All right, well, give us a good story of a somebody that successfully navigated through your program.
All right. Well, one of the first people that we had a chance to work with was actually referred to us from a partner organization called Easter Seals.
Oh, I love those guys.
Yes.
John Funk.
Yes, John Funk.
Rock stars.
Love their team.
Yep.
Well, they had a client that was in a position that needed a little bit more assistance. So they referred them to us, and she went and got her Excel certification. Now, her background in the Navy was in purchasing. Well, with that Excel program, with that Excel certification, we're able to access the purchasing background from her Navy career, the Excel spreadsheet program, and then we were able to find her a position as a procurement specialist with a local organization.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, and it was amazing, because she was just truly dedicated to the program. Most of our training can be done online, but we do require them to come in a minimum of 1 day a week to make sure that they speak with the instructor and get a chance to ask any questions, make sure that they're on target with their training. And she came in about 3-4 days a week, spending 3 to 4 hours a day. And because it's self-paced, she got through the program very quickly, very attentive, listened to all the advice we gave her, and it was just a storybook ending to her.
I love it. Well, congratulations and thanks for all you're doing. And it seems like veterans are a natural match for that. They are self-motivated. They can be self-taught. They can think outside the box. And so it's a natural progression for them to become a part of your program.
Well, it's a word, trainable.
Yes.
I mean, in the military, we are constantly being trained to either with new systems or softwares. So going from one training to another, it's natural for us, and it was helpful for her.
That's excellent. Santiago Leon from Able to Disabled Advocacy. How can we get a hold of you, and how can we support you in what you're doing?
Well, if you have veterans that are looking for training, you can always send them to us. They can either go to our website, which is www.able2work.org, or they can just email me directly at Santiago@able, again, the2work.org, and we can bring in the candidates that way. And if you're an employer who are looking to hire or would like to be one of the apprentice program employers, once more, contact me and I'll direct you to the right people.
Excellent. Who wouldn't want to hire a veteran for all the reasons you just mentioned? I love it. Santiago Leon, Able to Disabled Advocacy, thanks for being a part of our show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And go Army.
Oh, go Army. Yes.
We'll be right back with more of Operation American Dream. Don't go away. Welcome back to Operation American Dream. As promised, we have an incredible man in studio with us, John Silva. John, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Eve.
Well, actually, welcome to your show, because you are the producer and production manager for Ignite Now Media that actually produces this show, Operation American Dream, and a few others.
A few others.
And we are honored because you are also a veteran serving our country. So, John, tell us a little bit about your background, growing up, and why you entered the military to begin with.
Well, I have a family of 11 brothers and sisters.
Oh, my goodness.
Pretty good-sized family, and it was tough growing up, and I knew that I was not going to get anything past high school if I didn't do something. And whether it was a trade school, whether it was anything else, I needed to get some money. Could not get enough money, so I said, what's my next option? Military.
Yeah.
Joined the military, and I did. It was the best thing I've ever done.
And you grew up right here in Ramona.
Ramona, California.
Right. And so which branch did you sign up for?
U.S. Air Force. My brother had been in the Air Force, and I thought, well, my second oldest brother was in Vietnam. Didn't want to go in the Army because I just really thought maybe the Air Force would have my career path.
Right.
And at the time, I thought it did.
Yeah.
So I joined the Air Force.
And you were in electronics. You were putting planes together, keeping helicopters running.
I had tested very high in electronics and mechanical, and I chose a mechanical path because I'd been doing electronics as an apprentice electrician during high school. And I thought, well, I'm bored. So I'd try something new. Loved airplanes since I was a little kid, so I thought, okay, I'll try aircraft. And I went in as a jet engine mechanic and repaired helicopters and C-130s and a few other large aircraft.
And here's the fascinating part, and I think the inspirational part about your story, John, is that when you got out of the military, you didn't pursue that. You went into something completely different, which I think brings hope to a lot of people who feel like when they transition out, gee, I repaired helicopters, now I need to do that for the rest of my life in the civilian world, and it's just not true. So tell us about how you got into the production side of life.
When I got out of the Air Force, prior to getting out of the Air Force, I had been playing around with, I play music too, so I've been playing around with speaking to audiences, and I like that, being in front of an audience, talking to them. And I thought maybe I should go into being a radio disc jockey. Wow, what a great job, huh?
Right on, woohoo, spinning those records.
Yeah, so I thought, well, I'll go into broadcasting, just in general.
Right.
And so when I got out of the Air Force, I signed up at Grossmont College, got my electives out of the way, and dabbled in radio. I went to work for Kogo Radio as an intern scholarship student, and then took a TV class, and I thought, wow, visual creative stuff is where I want to be. So no, I did not have to pursue another jet engine mechanic school or career. I could have easily gotten my A&P license and worked for an airline and repaired aircraft, but it wasn't really my passion. But because of my Air Force background, I was able to use that money to go whatever school I wanted to, take whatever career path I wanted to, and that's what I did.
And you get into production, and a very small, tiny little broadcast media company says, I think you're pretty good. I want you to come work for us. NBC. So
I was very lucky.
right, how did your experience in the military help you with this job that NBC was pursuing you? They saw talent, right? They wanted you. So tell us about how the experience in the military helped you be very successful at NBC.
Absolutely. The military taught me how to be a logical thinker, how to set the logistics to get a plan done, set goals. It also taught me concentration, goal setting, the ability to get along with others as a team.
Right.
Whether I was a team leader or a follower,
Right.
it didn't matter. It just, the bottom line was get the job done. And they saw that I was very good. They put me in audio. I did great in audio. They put me as a technical director. I did great there. They put me as a lighting director, stage manager. And so because it was non-union, I was able to float from job to job and pick what I wanted to pick. So I ended up in creative services as a production manager.
Wow. And here's what I think is interesting is that most employers don't realize that a veteran really can morph into any position because of the nature of what they had to do in the military. One minute you're doing X, the next minute you have to do Y.
Absolutely.
And you went through all these iterations at NBC and then became an Emmy award-winning producer. So talk about winning that Emmy. That must have been exciting. So you're going from zero to hero. You've learned everything that you needed to learn, and now you're at the ultimate, got the ultimate award of your career. So talk about that.
Correct. Going back to the military real quick, the part about being a team member is huge. You learn to interact with everybody. Somebody fails or can't do it, you jump in,
Right.
you do it, vice versa, or they need assistance, you back them up, whatever. It's a team mentality that becomes second nature. It's almost like muscle memory. It becomes second nature. So when I was at NBC, somebody would call in sick. I'd never done that job before, but I'd seen it done. So I'd jump in and I would do it. Somebody needed help doing something because we had a deadline, I would jump in and do whatever I could. So it became muscle memory from the military to create, to work that way. And working that way set my goals higher, my quality standards a little higher.
Right.
So therefore, my standards were high enough to be nominated 9 times for Emmys, and I did win 1 Emmy finally. But yes, it was the biggest moment of my life.
That is incredible. And we owe it all to your opportunity to serve in our U.S. Air Force and serving in the military. And that background gave you everything you needed to succeed.
I would do it all over again, and I urge any young kid who's thinking about going into the military to think a little harder and maybe take that path.
Excellent. John Silva, Emmy award-winning producer and good friend of mine. Thank you so much for being a part of our show today. And
My pleasure.
thank you for producing our show.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more of John's talents here on Operation American Dream. Don't go away. Today we have the one and only Paul Falcone. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Eve. Great to be here.
So for our viewers, you're one of the most prolific authors I actually know in the field of human resources and also in the field of helping veterans transition from the military into the civilian workforce. And you've written a book, one of 11 books, called Boots to Loafers. So let's just talk about how you have put it in a nutshell for folks to easily and effectively transition out of the military when it's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually co-wrote that book, Eve.
Okay.
And John Phillips, who at the time was working with Coca-Cola, reached out to me. And he said, Paul, I'm a retired Army lieutenant colonel. And I want to write this book for the audience because I'm in charge. I kind of spearhead a lot of the veteran recruiting here at Coca-Cola in Atlanta. But you've written all the books on how to find a job and how to hire people.
Right.
So he said, could you help me with this? And I said, I would absolutely love to partner with you on that. And I think the key to the book was to try and make it as easy as possible for people because there's so much information out there. It's easy to go on, overwhelm mode.
Right.
And so keep it simple, teach them how to do some of the basic things and then answer most of their questions that are probably going to come up along the way.
It's so hard because the transition GPS classes that they have access to is like just this overload dump of information. And so by the time they're out, their heads are spinning and they're not real sure which direction to go. And I think your book, Boots to Loafers, can really help them get some traction when they're transitioning out.
Right. And I think the idea was, for me, if you look on the internet, the number of resources, it's a wonderful thing. I mean, the country is very much in the mode of wanting to help.
Yes.
And employers want to hire.
Yes.
But there's just so much information when you go out there. It's like, wow, where do I even start? And so one of the things I talk about at the front of the book is, you can kick the can around, you can try some of these websites, but really focus on maybe one with a backup. You can't have 17 websites that you're referring to all the time. It's just too much information.
Right, and don't think that you know everything, because you're going to be coming into a rude awakening when you think you know the way without picking up a book like Boots to Loafers and trying to use this as your map, right? You're going to learn the hard way, and you're going to get a lot of bumps on your head.
I think the idea is, Boots to Loafers isn't the only book that's in the field, but the reality is when you pick a book, make sure it's one that's teaching you how, not just what. I think everyone knows what to do.
Right.
They just don't know how to do it.
Right.
And so what you want to focus on is something that kind of walks you through how to say it. What does it look like when you write back that thank you letter or whatever it happens to be, so that they have real hardcore examples that they can model on rather than have to start from scratch.
Right. Folks who go into an interview, they're in the defensive position, they're answering questions and their strengths, weaknesses, and the basics, but they're not really being persuaded to join this company. And now we've got a talent shortage, and employees, potential employees, have a choice, right? And so for you to educate the hiring managers on how not to just ask the questions, but really let's sell this person on our organization and really find out they're not just making a career change, they're making a life change. And so let's dig for a little bit more information.
And I agree with you, because the idea is they have to make themselves a little vulnerable in this process. These aren't easy questions, but they're good questions. And someone walks out and says, wow, I've never been asked those questions before, but they really were interested in me. And every once in a while, Eve, you'll see a candidate who says, I normally don't say this in an interview, but, and that's when you know you've got the real person.
Yes.
You've made it safe for them to make themselves a little vulnerable. And that's a healthy thing in a relationship, because it builds trust.
Now, on the other side of that, as we have veterans who are in transition in interview situations, do you think it's beneficial for them to become vulnerable?
Yes, actually I do. There's a TED Talk on vulnerability and how important that is. And I think the reality becomes is when you interview, you really want to put your best foot forward, and your best foot is always your true self. Too many times, candidates read the books on how to answer questions, and employers read the books on how to ask questions, and you get a QA, but it's always arm's length. You never get to know the real person. You've got to figure out as an employer how to get to know someone in 30 minutes. And as a candidate, you have to figure out, how do I make them really understand who I truly am?
Excellent. Paul, author of 11 books, Boots to Loafers, and 75 Ways for Managers to Hire and Develop and Keep, very important.
Don't forget keep.
Don't forget keep great employees. Thank you for being a part of our show. And this is not the last of you that we will see. So thanks again for all that you do, especially in helping our veterans transition.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more of Operation American Dream. Don't go away. Thanks for joining us on Operation American Dream. We are really excited about bringing you information about employment, how to effectively transition, entrepreneurship if you're a veteran looking to start your own business, real estate, because like Daniel Lehman says, if you fought for this country, you deserve to own a piece of it, and financial literacy. We hope you're enjoying our show, and what we want to know is what questions you have, because we want to answer those questions for you here on the show with our experts. So please go to OperationAmericanDream.tv with your comments and questions. We want to know what you think. We want to hear your questions. So until next week, we'll see you later here on Operation American Dream.